Good morning, and we are here with Jiggy, our midget-sized horse. Jiggy is just under 9 hands high, and he is testing out the small Kula Lunge Training System. So our standard size Kula Lunge Training System fits horses from around 13.2 up to 17.2 plus hands high. So there's a gap for the smaller horses, which is why we're testing out our sizes on Jiggy, and then we'll try and ensure that we've built this so it will fit horses up to around 13.2 or 13.3. So as I said, Jiggy is just under 9 hands. So Jiggy was actually broken in by my fiance's kids when he was a youngster. He's about 6 or 7 now. But since my fiance's kids and his nieces and nephews have outgrown Jiggy, he was sitting in the paddock doing nothing. So he was sent down to us to find him another home. But since he is broken in, I thought he would be the ideal test candidate for the small Kula Lunge Training System. And also, let's utilise this system to bring him into work and demonstrate how it works for the smaller horse. So there's loads of benefits of using the Kula Lunge Training System on the smaller horse that you can't fit an adult or a more experienced rider on. It gets him working in a frame without having to put a rider on his back. So you can see here he's submitted to the contact. I've actually got the side reins on fairly loose because this is his second time only utilising the Kula Lunge Training System. So we did put it on him yesterday to measure him up, and Alana, one of my students, gave him a very quick lunge on the grass because the arena was soaking wet yesterday. So even now the arena is still fairly wet. It's only this top corner that's dry enough for us to do anything on. So ideal time for me to test the Kula Lunge Training System out on Jiggy, and also to test Jiggy out because, as I said, he hasn't been ridden for about 3 years. We've popped a couple of kids on his back and just sat them on there, but he hasn't actually done anything. Well, I'm happy to report Jiggy actually has a really good mouth, so the kids did a good job of breaking him in. On the first video I took, which is when Jiggy started with the Kula Lunge Training System this morning, my Pivo didn't send the recording to my phone, so unfortunately you missed the initial workout, so this is just a quick follow-on from where we finished off. So in our initial workout, Jiggy did not want to go forward at all. That was something we struggled with, and he also tried to kick me a couple of times. I mean, his legs are like ridiculously tiny, not much longer than my goat. So Jiggy trying to kick me is laughable, but this is something that needs to be dealt with before he goes to children. But because he didn't want to go forward, he kicked up a couple of times, and he swung that little back end at me and sent a couple of kicks in my direction, as I said, all null and void. But it's something that we just need to deal with, because he's in that paddock mentality of not having done anything for 3 years. So he's like, I don't want to work. I do not work. So it was just a matter of me convincing Jiggy that I wanted him to go forward when I ask him to go forward. So I don't want to get in a fight with him about it. I don't want to make things super difficult. So I was just cracking the whip behind him. I've had to turn the sound off in the video and do a voiceover because the video just didn't pick up my voice. And you can hear the broken Pivo trying to turn. It's making this clicking noise. Whoop! Oh, he's so cranky. So that was, he did worse in the first video than that. But again, it's his second day back in work. So it's just, it's the same as any sized horse. I want him to go forward when I ask him to go forward, and I want him to go forward where I want him to go. So I want to be able to move him around the arena, not just keep him on the circles. That's why I've got the long reins on him, so I can turn him, I can steer him, I don't need to make him stop, he just stops. But I do need to make him go. And these are all things that will then make it easier for when we put a rider on his back. So the more effectively I can communicate with him on the ground with the long reins and utilising the Kula Lunge Training System to keep him in a frame, to keep him in a shape, and to have some control so he doesn't overbend to the inside, the easier it will be when we put a small rider on him. So I envision that initially he'll just be a lead line pony, but I'd like to have him in a place where we can have a small rider riding him independently. So our goal will be to get him cantering on the long reins. It's obviously not going to happen today. It's his first session, well, second session, because the first session didn't record, which really annoyed me. Because I'm trying to do this as a clear, like, live situation, and I don't know if I can go live on YouTube. I'm not that technology savvy. I can't even work my piper properly, clearly. And so as you can see, I'm just moving him around the arena. I'm making sure I can turn him left and right, steering him around. These are all things that I'd like to be able to do. Well, not me personally, but I'd like to have a child doing with him under saddle. Quite clearly, my feet would touch the ground. I'm not getting on him, and he'd probably just get rid of me because he's little, and these little horses can twist out from under you quite quickly. So again, the better I can have him going on the flat, the more he's listening to me, and being obedient to my voice age. You can then carry that over to having a parent or the coach on the ground giving him voice commands to aid the child with what they're doing to begin with, and that will help their confidence if you can have a little bit of control over the horse. And that's it for today. We are done. Thank you for watching our channel, Kula Lunge Training System. Please subscribe.